just once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. And damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight, don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase, so catch me if I fall. Praying that this night's gonna last. You got it all on tap, I'm loving your vibe, always have your back. We like all the same tracks, listen all night in the sheets all black. Said I'm falling fast, don't remember life before you, that's fact. I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait. A first time, a first date, you're so fine, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight, don't waste time to my place. I feel my heart erase, so catch me if I fall.
A literal backstabber, yeah. Nice one.
Yeah.
I give you that.
It was good. And we're in.
Why is my mic consistently falling off?
I don't know. I feel like you need to let someone around to have a look at it. Because it's been troublesome for you.
I
It's been a
just
problem.
need to rag it on a little bit harder. I'll be 2 seconds.
All right. That's okay. I'll cover the plane path again on Sanhok. Just going to be super chill. Fortunately for the teams in Painan, well, for Virtus Pro, and this time around RCB, they do not have their opponents to hot drop against, so could potentially be some interesting dynamics if hot drops Black Esports and Vibes, though, could very much still clash. And I'm wondering if Silas is going to meet Matic out in the open, but it looks like Matic's grabbed a vehicle. They're going to fold back in. I think the Galaxy close to Black Esports potentially, and Vibes are looking to drop short. Northeast side, however, that could get a little bit spicy. Footballers Chaos, Trovo 2030, they are kind of intertwined right now and grabbing some terrain that splits apart from one another. Blank thinks he's fixed his microphone arm. I'm hoping that's the case.
Yeah, just need some good talk on it.
Ah.
Yeah.
What did you say to it?
West Island. Wow.
Did you catch my joke? It was pretty good.
It needed some talk on it.
It needed some talk, so I said, well, what did you say to it?
No, on it.
No. Talk.
Yeah, like twisting.
No. But that was the funny joke, you see. Because I said talk and meant like words, like saying things. Like
oh, of course.
Yes. There you go.
Yes.
And now you can find that also mildly humorous.
Yeah, I twisted it.
Well, we've twisted the circle over towards the Northwest Island.
Which is sad for Twisted Minds, because they're not in the game. They do not have access to the Northwest Island, because they're back at the hotels.
I don't know if they're staying. They might be in a hotel. Maybe they got a
Where else would they
rental
be?
apartment. Bolt. Some backup onto this. I mean, you can see, yeah, Jafar's right there. So the fact that they lose a player like that, 2-and-off angle on the high ground, not ideal. Really not ideal, especially given you've got a very long rotate ahead of you.
Yeah. Look at the overalls, though. Look at that. IWNRX currently in 4th place. Technically, Team Spirit in 3rd place in this lobby.
I guess that's technically true.
They're doing so good, John. Such a good performance from Team Spirit this week.
I think you are right. Why are you getting mean with them? Why are you getting sarky? It's their last day of games today.
I don't know. I want to see a bit more of them.
I mean, week 2 really elevated our expectations.
There's been trolling.
They did do some very silly things. But that's not silly.
It feels.
Even.
Look how low they both are.
But they're not down.
Yeah, true, I guess.
Therefore, not silly. Actually, getting rid of a player on Zeus here. The last time we saw a Northwest Island circle, I think it was Twisted Minds, not Zeus, who were able to just hold the high ground for ages and nobody really did anything about it. So the fact that Twisted Minds are now doing something about it is an adjustment, and I like it. It's a good one.
It is indeed. Team Spirit, though, I guess, like, you think to yourself, look, Twisted Minds not in the game. We take Northwest Island. They absolutely ruined us last time. Good shots over towards Maniac. Likely to be stolen by RCB. Yeah.
Unfortunate.
Very.
Has Nomi broken 100 elims yet?
No. He hasn't.
No, he had all of yesterday to get, what was it, like 7?
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to quite meet that metric. No, we still only have 2 players above the 100 elimination mark, being Zadira from 77, not playing today, and Lemon from Na'Vi is playing today. Nomi is on 94, and the next highest competitor is Shifu, who is also not playing today, and Bishke, who's also not playing today. That's 87 and 85, so he's definitely the next player to look to cross.
Yeah, no, he's got like this, he's got his ups and downs. It's like a sound wave. Goes up, bombs really well. Nah, he takes a big dip. Sadly.
Interesting thing about sound waves is that they are what's called transverse waves. Which means that they oscillate in the direction of travel.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there you go. It's the receiver that goes in and out, right? That creates that sine wave that you're so used to seeing when you look at a spectrogram. I think that's the wrong word. I think that's definitely the wrong word. Oscilloscope, maybe?
Audiogram.
Something like that.
I made that up. It might not be made up, though.
There you go. It also could be transverse as the other one. But either way, the definition I gave was correct. The word might not be.
We're just confusing everyone now.
Absolutely.
I see.
It's just a befuddlement.
I too shall join in.
Yes, have you heard of this this beast, who may or may not be an English beast? It's a dragon.
The Fuddle Lump.
Ah, yes. The Heffalump. The Ector. Cannot quite do the dirty, and Football Staos will remain stone cold last right now, as the circle is shutting upon them. And upon everyone else. S2G from Paradise Resort. They're trying to find Trovo 2030, but not super successful just yet. Marcelo will go down, and it's Calci with the auto shotty. Suppressed, sounded clean. And it's only second zone. He'll get in through. Nicely.
Nomi's down.
Uh-oh.
Needs to get back up again. But he's getting tagged, so these are really out in the open. I think there should be some backup. Depends if he fell down too much. Trovo 2030. Razzing into boot camp. Why?
Good loot. Team Spirit's leftovers.
I guess so.
Also,
Surely-
it's not
surely it would
unlikely
be
that they go for a
clear,
swim
though.
crossing. I mean, it's not unlikely that they go for a swim crossing. Oh.
That was silly.
Yeah, that was an earlier knock, and that was Aaron, who is still currently down. But they can't really go back out and get towards it. I think Trovo, I mean, you go into boot camp and you expect to see them jumping off the cliffs, going across the water to get to that Northwest Island. And I think that may be the wisest. I mean, you could compete for the trifecta compound, but much more likely that you come up against competition.
The shallows over towards the north side. You can drive through. So, confused. We'll see. We'll see what they do. I think that you've made an astute observation. However, I think there's a better way.
Yeah, it could be.
And I think that if you're heading over towards that Northwest Island, you sort of need vehicles, especially to rotate around the valley. Because you need to swing wide on this circle. You got the Northwest Mountaintop being the biggest problem for a lot of teams.
Nades over towards Sard. feel like he can't last too much longer, surely. But Alhaji's found Prepod. It's going to draw their attention at least a little bit. Sard dodging the nades and moving in with the DBS, finds Furia. Now he's got one more to play against. Fortunately, there's a nice connection from Freezer on the DBS, stepping out wide, and finally gets that knock, but Prepod is already down. Furia getting flushed, maybe. There's shots coming through from across the way. Alhaji is still up at an action for power.
We know. The heavy hand of Alhaji can slam down hard. Na'Vi, default, going down to GG not GG from Guild. A cheeky little off angle down towards the southwest side, which is fair enough. I also would not expect a team to play there.
Yeah, I think Guild...
Why, Guild? Why?
I think Guild may have moved from Tambang. Did they go around on a boat, or did they swim?
They did.
I'm not entirely sure.
But, again, it's not often you send towards this location. Guild have this tendency to be like... to play so far out of the way. It's like they don't want to be involved in the game.
Well, maybe they don't, you know?
I think he's got a knock on Elam, so fair play to him. But again, if I'm Na'Vi, I'm like, why is there people on the western side of the paddy field? Doesn't make any sense to me.
Doesn't matter. Still lose a player to it. Black Esports are now ahead of Trovo 2030. What's interesting is that Trovo 2030 didn't opt to go across the river. They did go south, despite sort of isolating that crossing. Kelsey. Oh, easy. Easy over to Neos. Not a problem there. 2 players uphill, can't do anything about it. Kelsey gets away with murder.
Yeah, good stuff. The calcifier. Over on that northeast side. Circle shifts over towards the northeast. Time for that heavy sweep over towards Camp Alpha for a few teams, I imagine. There's only Rita in there. I think for the Team Spirit is actually a good opportunity just to fling themselves off the top side and head towards Camp Alpha.
It's interesting, right? Because at the moment they're investing in staying on that hilltop, on the top of the mountain. The value you get there is that you can control the teams rotating in, but if you're not taking shots out, if you're not actually actively controlling those locations, getting into the center of the circle, like you said, towards Camp Alpha, could be good, but it's IWNRX to beat them to the punch. They managed to get in on the north side of Camp Alpha. And Effect gets spotted by Brute Force on the roll-up on the south. He's very isolated, unlikely to get back up here. Team Spirit potentially losing their south prong.
Which is very bad news. Very, very bad news, in fact. I think Effect right now only safe because Brute Force is trying not to expose themselves to too many angles. In comes Nomi and Kitsune. So his backup. Brute Force currently just on the 2 players. So 2v2 as Matic continues to look out towards the north, making sure there aren't players sneaking in behind them. Brute Force sends wide. Okay.
Yeah, Brute Force just managed to get straight in the middle. Rita, who's a solo in Camp Alpha, took a player down on IWNRX and actually gave him a little bit of a leathering on a 3rd player as well. So we'll need to heal that up. Playing as 3 on Camp Alpha should still be fairly strong here for IWNRX, but they got Power, or rather Alhaji, the only player left remaining, to join them on the north side, the way that they came in. Heroic have a player lost, and that is Walsh, which is pretty devastating as a loss for Heroic. They do get up to the roadside compounds, however, so could potentially be safe for a lot longer.
Yeah, Heroic actually not in too bad of a spot. Just the fact they only have 2 players. It's going to be a case of teams just slowly fighting over for that position on the map. Heroic moving a little bit further in might be a good idea.
Vibes really suffering. Snowick's kind of trapped behind as well. Maybe giving up his life here to keep Vibes held on in. Opens the door for the Molotov, steps out with a DBS and burns the opponents away instead. Goes for 1 for the flush, 2 as well. Looks for Mazzara over the hill, but he's already low. There's a first aid there for Snowix, gets inside and immediately starts healing. Will need to do so. The zone's going to crash and he should be able to get away with this. A really nice set of plays from Snowix to break out of that, out of the shack.
Very much call an ambulance, but not for me. Stoic relieves himself from a case of 3rd-degree burns inside the shack on that Molotov. That's the 1v3 effective so far. Now looking for the 4th.
I mean,
Mozzarola's
Galaxy,
like, damn.
he still has teammates on the northwest side, right? He's still got Ralph. He's still got Narvalo, I believe.
Ooh,
So,
Mozzarella
yeah,
wants
he
to find
just-
this.
Yeah, he could just get out of here. Mazzara, there's no way that he can actually get for this peak. SnowX should be able to get across the bridge fairly safely. Guild may take shots, but he should be okay. Brute force with 2 players against RCB. A nade in from across the road. This is heroic. Their duo is still alive. And RCB have a real dangerous situation on their hands now. There's nades from Kevin. Molotov as well. They're looking to burn this one away. Keep RCB back. And Jafar wants to keep this pressure on as well. They'll just keep it light up. Okay. Steps in. It's Firestarter, and Jafar bursts the nade in the middle, pops in through the window. He's not content with the ordnance, he wants to go gun to gun. Jafar will go down, but Kevin's there to back it up, and we'll get the res. RCB torn apart by 2 duos.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That was probably the funniest play I've ever seen from Kevin. You throw the Molotov in, and then he just wanders through the smoke, and they'd all pulled pins on the grenades. He just throws a Molotov right at their feet. How is that allowed to happen? This is this incredible 1 into 2, and then I believe there was a 3rd as well to come through just shortly after that. But quick reactions coming through from Mr. SnowX.
Yeah, I love that burn from Kevin. Like pushing them into the corner, and then you know they're all going to have to be there. Team Spirit, they did manage to get all 4 of their players up and alive, and now they have the cliff top. The down shots out to the west edge of this means that all of these compounds start to get locked in until Team Spirit have to descend this mountaintop. They're starting to rack up points for it as well, which is good to see. You do need to be a little bit aggressive with these peaks sometimes. IWNRX up in Camp Alpha. 3 players alive still. But right on the edge of the circle, likely going to have to leave.
Yeah, for 2 Spirit, it's basically a case of trying to clear out as many players as possible from this southwest side before rotating down. Enigma Galaxy still have 1 player in Ralph, but yeah, good rotate. Good clean rotate from them. Ralph tries to move forward. He's immediately peppered by the squad from Team Spirit. They will find him. And now Na'Vi have the same circle and the same compound they had from the other day.
Well, there you go. Should be clean then. I am worried right now about Mazzaro from Vibes. Nomi is unlikely to be aware that there's a player here, and it's very likely that Mazzaro knows that he's there. And I feel like it's a knock and a flush from Mazzaro in about 5 seconds. What do you reckon? Maybe a little bit more? 10?
Maybe. It's stage 5 though, so I think it hurts. It does hurt to be in this blue. I don't know how many more meds he's got available for himself. Nomi's still looking behind him. I think Mozzaro did try and take shots. Play zone will remove him. Guild taking shots from that western side. Matic taking a heavy beating and should be taken down. Just Matic now dropping smoke, so Team Spirit on 3.
Wow, okay. Losing effect there. Kind of unnecessary, almost entirely. Mozzaro did go down. Nomi now rolling around the side to try and get back in, regrouping. It wasn't Nomi to go down in the end. I think he did take the fight. I'm not too sure what alerted him, but he did start to look out to the southeast side. Potential for footsteps to have given that one away, but Team Spirit up to the road. Matic caught on the cross here, and Guild are doing a lot of work to suppress this angle.
Well, they are. Black Esports even finding players there from IWNRX. Over towards the north side. Shots fly through from Kevin. That's a lovely double. And only Kitsune, once again, hold things down. You know, Kitsune's actually had quite a few pop-off moments. I like it.
Yeah, he's definitely done a lot better. Guild is a major threat here. This is complete broadside. He has to stick this res. I think, yeah, they've given up on Nomi. He is down. Matic needs to move fast. The blue zone is there. Kitsune needs to light up towards Heroic, but they're not really going to find the shots. Up to the tree. Has got a first aid, but Guild are still such a major worry here. Kitsune, as soon as they peek that crest, he is down. He is done for. Loses Matic as well. A nade into the tree, and that is Guild to shut him out of this game.
Down.
He will be at the end of it. Nothing more. Team Spirit have 4 players on the high ground. They just get pushed aside.
Yeah, they squeeze him out. Man, he's gone. Guild over towards the little bit of high ground that is in play. Look over towards an RV. The circle moves back up towards that northeast side. And Heroic have a very good game as just the two of them. S2G, IWNRX, who felt like their game was settled, but Black Esports, just their two players, are able to push them back. It's not been a high elim game for anyone. It's been very rough to deal with. But Guild actually have a strong spot to work with here. Again, this is their last 6 matches of the week. And they needed a high placing for finals.
Yeah, they are in desperate need of league ranking points. They want to make it through. Swain has really had a tough time, as does IWNRX, of getting out of Camp Alpha. And it will draw to a close. 6th place claimed for them. And at the moment, it's S2G on the high ground. It's Guild on the south side, trying to push on through. Can Na'Vi take it all away from them?
Yeah, Na'Vi's struggling. They could get forward. There is compounds in. A little bit of high ground for Black Esports to play around with. Same could be said for S2G, but cracking shot from Lemon.
He's done a lot of work there. Getting rid of Marceau with the zone pushing in. Sure, it is still a position in this next circle, but you're going to draw another S2G player and allow your movements to be a little bit cleaner here. Guild summiting, and it's over to S2G with the circle. This is a big advantage for them now. They had that high ground before, and it's just become all the more dominant.
Yeah, for S2G, this should be a winner of a match. It's a very good spot, but they are taking shots from a lot of different teams. Now, Guild has to move off this high ground. Likely is the death for them.
Outside a move, though. Black do go down. Heroic with 2. They're low HP. Guild have all 4 players alive. S2G are chiming in towards an RV. Guild making this roll forward. It's going pretty well here. Kevin not going to be able to find anything now. Heroic fall. RV getting shut out in the sidelines in the meantime. We're down to 2 teams alive, Blank, and it's Guild who have taken a knock. S2G looking a lot more healthy, though. 10 eliminations, and I think you're right here. Guild's just going to really struggle to get up towards anywhere near where S2G's playing.
Good nades over the top, causing a lot of problems for them. JT runs out into the blue. And it's just 0 to head on front. Again, this game was a case of the circle had no idea who to favour. And realistically, it was like try and set yourself in a good spot and hope the circle comes over to you. But overall, good control from S2G. Need to maintain all 4 of their players and moving from Paris as well. Actually, some good rotates to get to that point. But yeah, in the end, the circle chooses them as the victors on the game.
Yeah, it certainly does. But Guild also getting pretty late into that game. We always talk about this team as a squad that sort of stays out of it, and that kind of was exemplified there. They did very, very well to be able to get into 2nd place. And from the hilltop they were able to claim actually a fairly decent scoreline. So I'm pretty happy for Guild on that front. They were able to do a little bit more. As we take a look at a couple of the highlights from that last match.
Looks, yeah.
A couple of looks.
Let's take a couple of looks. That's one look. That's a good look.
Blue Steel? That's
Blue
a good
Steel,
look.
Potentially. Yeah, honestly, for Team Spirit, they've made a good rotation over towards the Northwest Island and set themselves up for success from the mountaintop. Again, if you can pick up that position, you may as well. Right? 'Cause if the circle does move over towards you on that mountaintop, then it's not a guaranteed win, but you have a super high chance at it.
And then we just saw a look at the Molotovs from Kevin, who just burnt out RCB on their crash into the compound. Nice stuff. Really enjoyed watching that one. Playing around, toying with his food, and then in the end, just hop in through the window. I've had enough of these Molotovs. I'm going barrel to barrel. And it did work out, but didn't work out as well for anyone other than S2G, as they got 11 eliminations from their position around the west side of Camp Alpha. Really good stuff for them to be able to use that high. None whatsoever. We're heading straight on in. It is, as you said, beautiful to see. You love matches that start when they're supposed to. I'm certainly raring ready for it, as 4 of our teams once more will take to Erangel for their final triple billing. IWNRX, Team Spirit, Power Esports, and Guild. All of them looking to put up their final points for the day and evidently for the week, because this is their last day of games. Guild have managed to get up into 12th place blank on 77 points and within striking distance of getting quite a bit higher.
Yeah, definitely. For a couple of teams on this leaderboard, for SDG, 96 points. They didn't really take the leaderboard by storm. I thought they would do a little bit more there, but they do not. On the other side of things, though, we have Brute Force heading over towards Severny. Wow, they'd have to fight Falcons. This is the best. What a nice alternative drop spots for our teams here.
Hey, look at that. A 1-2-3 for most eliminations. Pmco and IC. Damage, not quite the clean sweep that they'd want it to be, because Zadira is there to play. Even though if they are going to deny him the first to 100 eliminations accolade, they can't stop him from showing up on the damage meters.
No, they cannot. Absolutely cannot. Zeus over towards Kameshki. That's an interesting drop spot. I wonder if anyone will take Primos. It would make sense to do it.
Guild, what are they doing? Okay.
I don't know what they're doing.
They're dropping with Na'Vi. I mean, okay, no, just a split short drop on the compounds out to the north and to the west side. Yusuf is getting a bit fresh with it on his drop as well. Look at where the rest of Trovo 2030 are. They're all the way up towards Footballers Chaos. Over on that north side, but Yusuf just going to drop on a vehicle, try and head out to the east bridge, because it is a hard east shift circle.
Very hard on the eastern shift. I think this is the first time we've seen a shift like this come through in a while now. Heroic and Pubg get very lucky on that drop, considering usually they're down toward over Epnoy, which they could have got to, honestly. But I think they'd just rather sit this one over towards the Pubg.
Heroic losing Volt early on. Not good news. Bad time, all things considered. I think the Galaxy, they're going to hop into Pachinki. Play from the middle.
Wow. Did you hear that?
The fade out? Yeah,
the fade out on the drop? We've not seen that before. That's a...
I was buckled in for another verse. I was like, oh, it's not going to stop. But I know what's going on there.
That's pretty cool, though. I like it.
Yeah, I liked it. We should do that more often.
We should. We absolutely should.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, if only I had game audio. That would be
I don't need game audio. No.
Okay, that's fair.
It's not necessary.
You just imagine the sounds.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you doing Foley artistry right now? Because I don't think it's coming through on Discord.
Oh, there it is. Wow, it's back.
Oh.
I think we did pretty good.
Yeah, I think we could. We've got a future in this.
We'll workshop it.
Foley casting.
See what goes on.
I reckon we can make something of that. Oh.
I'm gonna see if I have to match it. So if it happens again, I can get it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go. That's pretty good. That'll do. Vim Vim. No. I don't think it's a V.
You don't think it's a V?
No, like a rang.
You think it's a ring? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
More of a growl than a...
Yeah, it's like a growl. It's less of a letter.
Or that horrible skin that does like the weird accordion noise. It's like... I'm like, having a bad time.
The electric car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Sounds awful. I hate the sound. Looks pretty cool though, so like, you know.
Yeah, that is the plus side.
Wow, big old leap for Axa. Getting airtime against Marzello on the spray down. Into the fight. as they cross the bridge. Na'Vi across safely. Unfortunately, the crash didn't go so well for them. Default down. A lot of damage to AXA. Flip, nade in hand. Sees Salem across the way. Stepping up to the wall. A lot of damage bounces it in off the back wall and will connect with that nade. A 1-2 punch between the two teammates. And Default should be a little bit easier to res. However, AXA gets spotted and Marcelo is just trekking across the sidelines of this fight, getting sideswipe after sideswipe. It's working out for them. Unfortunately, both teams are going to be losing players here.
You know, Yusuf can over towards Na'Vi. Has sightlines over towards Lemon, but is waiting to strike. Taking time on this one, which is fair enough. Very much fair enough.
Two shotguns, both alike in dignity. Fair Milton. Oile Yasin. Oh dear. Star-crossed lovers, you know. It's never going to end well for either of them. Both down. Fortunately, Lemon was there to pick up the pieces. Sensible young chap he is. Gets the res. Marcelo looks for the challenge, but he's going to break out wide. I wonder if they realise there's two players in here to worry about. Because the heals come through now, and he can step up on the off angle. Marcelo not ready for it. And Ragnarok now getting rampaged down and flipped there for Lemon and the 1-2 punch.
Very lovely stuff. Troll 2030 again taken out, but only Flip and Lemon remaining. Which is a little bit sad here. Fireflux over towards Mansion. Oh, it's refusing to go in the garage. Catch bounces him off the front.
There we go.
Took a while.
Had to hop in the US just to check things out. Make sure it was, you know, the interiors were clean. No one being eating crisps in the back seat. Getting the crumbs all in the leatherwork. Bad time.
You know, Guild heading on out now. Looking towards their future. Not a bad game last game, actually, on Sandhawk. But yeah, I think this is one of the few circles that we've not played before in this tournament. But a lot of teams crunching in. Brute Force on that northern side. Honestly, Brute Force's position on the south side of Pmgc, I really like that spot. I think it's very good for sweeping. You do have to be a more aggressive team, and that is certainly what Brute Force is. In the meantime, it's Enigma Galaxy up against RCB.
A full crash from both sides now needed to come on through. A flush comes in. Enigma Galaxy pick up the guaranteed point. Wild is low and Silas is down. Also, it's just Redox on the inside. Ralph is making hasty for this compound as well. Will be able to save his teammate for just a moment longer as Loxy has the challenge. The crash in, and Ralph keeps things together for just enough time for Snowix to roll straight on in to the sightlines of Loxy. A sliver of HP and two players alive. A third party brewing though. Potential to get hairy. Jafar put down. Team Spirit lose effect. In the meantime, that is right in the center of this circle, and there's two reses possible now for Team Spirit.
I DC'd from Discord for a second.
Oh, are you back in? I hope you're back in.
But I'm back now. I didn't DC from the show.
Oh, well.
I remained.
Whatever I said, it was amazing. It was the best thing you've ever heard.
That's good. I was a bit confused, but Team Spirit able to get 3 eliminations. And a really central spot as well. Very strong spot. That's 3 players. I think they can make that work. Absolutely, I think they can make that work, actually.
Absolutely possible. For Team Spirit getting 3 eliminations. Hey, look at that. They're 4th place on the tables right now. But it's their last day of games. So it is for IWNRX and for Power. So I mean, S2G, whilst they're in 7th right now, I mean, it's looking pretty good for them in terms of what they're going to be able to do this week overall. RCB as well, waiting in the wings to try and jump back to their day 1 performance.
Yeah, which they really do want. Look at all our squads here, though. Shots coming out down the hill from IWNRX towards some of our teams. Again, another hard shift over towards that eastern side. Pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. Navi's just heading down towards Milton Power. I think a lot of teams are assuming this is going to lock up over towards the plateau that sits on that ridge. The western side of Pubg. Very unfortunate for Heroic on this game though, John.
Yeah, I mean, this should be something that they do a little bit better in. It's not ideal around their ends to be going down like this. As we take a look at the little replay here, this was Loxy holding down the roll-up of 2. I thought that was going to go Enigma Galaxy's way. 99 times out of 100, it probably does, but Loxy's able to pull off a miracle there. Taking down Snowyx on the hop-out, I think, was the biggest thing that changed up. And Snowyx was quite slow in going for the regroup, I think it's safe to say. There was a lot of time that he could have spent getting over there that didn't seem to be utilized that way.
Yeah, unfortunately. I think there was an opportunity for him, but sadly not to be in this game. I think IDVNRX just got a good spot though. I do like this position around Prism. It's slightly more exposed in other areas, but it gives you a huge amount of information gain on this side of the map. Especially around this circle, very important early on.
Waiting for this next circle to shift in. That's going to be a big decider here. Keeps Prison on the south side of it. Moves up towards S2G blank. So maybe they could be on for the repeat performance. See if they can get the shift go their way again. They have got all 4 of their players, and I think that's correct from Kelsey. You can see immediately he moves back towards the rest of the team. They want to consolidate their strength and keep that hold together in a very powerful position for themselves. IWNRX actually making a very fast crash down to a much more central position, and they'll play right in the middle of this one.
Yeah, weirdly enough. And I mean, reasonable considering the circle. Head towards a stronger position to set themselves nicely up for that endgame.
Three-way engagement up the hill here on the Heaven compound.
Okay.
You got Guild, you got Brute Force.
Nice.
Good for Freezer. Opening up and not taking too much damage there. And a second on the spin. 180. Will he find another? Tries to shut it down and 3 people step in. Nobody's going to leave. Finally, Zero makes his way through, but his damage is done. And that is brilliant news. Unfortunately, Power are waiting in the wings. They'll take Freezer out of the floor. Neos gets stepped out on and will be Furia now up to the task. But Power just rampage straight through this. This is the 3-way engagement. I think, is this S2G trying to put their nose into it as well? They've moved Kelsey out this way. If Power take a knock here, could be an opportunity to pick this one back up. Neos super, super low. Furia trying to put the nades in. Doing damage. Kelsey's here. Nade towards Furia. Hamzy wants to weigh in too, because Power on 3, they can cut that down. Take one more player out, and there's no wind in their sails.
Come on. Why don't you just pull a Freezer? 1v4. Easy peasy. Nades over the top side. That's a lovely nade from Kelsey. Take down Sard here. Nade dribbles down the stairs, but not quite far enough.
Up through the window, not connecting onto Al-Haji. They really want to find at least one limb here, but Fireflux could also third-party this. They're on the south side. They know that this is popping off. This is their opportunity to move, and either they go for this or they go towards the backstop of S2G. One of the two needs to be the choice that Fireflux make, but if they stagnate, they die here. It's a really big opportunity, and they can't squander it.
Al-Haji. Waiting in the wings. Strong position over towards this northwest side for the time being, but a lot of teams have to leave. Prepod lucky to be alive here. RCB playing out towards that ridge side that still looks down towards Black Esports. I think this is likely going to move out from the Pubg, no matter what happens. It does cut Prison in, so pretty awkward circle, I would say, John. You know, with Prison being such a big amount of space that it's just kind of unplayable. We are removing a roundabout third of the circle.
Ooh, Power stepping up to Prepod, last to stand for Brute Force. One makes the crossing. Al-Haji's there, but it's not going to be needed. Easy gets that shot down. S2G regrouped out to the east of their compound. They know they have to push south. Fireflux, I feel like they could have done a little bit more in terms of getting rid of S2G. And this is a worthy replay here. The fact that he takes no damage there is brilliant. That allows him to go for 2 more on the inside, steps in and just does so much work. Sprays down the door frame as well. I mean, nearly connects for that 4th elimination there. And there's a reason this guy was Rookie of the Season last season. Frieza is a force to be reckoned with on Brute Force.
That he is. Black Esports. Towards that eastern side, them and Zeus both need to leave. Zeus sees that Black Esports gearing up to go. IWDRX, so that shift that they did earlier on, that little move down from the top side of prison towards the central spot has worked out very nicely for them. Quite open down towards the south side of Mansion. And for IWDRX, the fact that they don't have to move too much is a real blessing in disguise.
A shift from Black Esports trying to move under cover of terrain here, but Maniac will be the only player in position actually to go for these sprays. Allows Poser across. Kakali next has to do a little bit of serpentine action, but he should be okay. Lewis stepping up and actually answering with a volley himself into the vehicle, moving quickly. A lot of damage found over towards Lewis, and they're backing it up. They slam it into reverse. They want a little bit more of a run-up to try and get speed before they go for the cross. Maniac still looking to hold, but Black Esports now allowed in with 2.
Shots with the Mini 14. Fantastic work from Maniac. Pops at least one of them at the backseat. Black Esports will have to go on as just the 3, potentially. If he can pick his teammate up out from outside the blue. Stage 4 is not heading too hard, but it was maybe a mistake.
Zeus are hunting Black Esports now with just Kakali, and they are hot on his trail. A broken twig, a rustling bush, and they are immediately traipsing on down behind them, but it's going to be crashing straight into the compound, into the position ahead of them that will be their demise. Na'Vi now trying to contest with Vibes around the south side of prison. I say Na'Vi, 2 players alive and a lot of damage sent to them besides. The nades over to Lemon, making it very tricky. 4 eliminations found so far this match, and this is the sort of unplayable zone you were talking about, right? It really, really makes it tricky for teams to rotate around. Na'Vi do not have a choice but to take a fight on the east or the west. It seems like they've elected for the east side.
Team Spirit out, in fact. But towards the northeast, S2G clears around that area. I really did feel like Brute Force would have a bit more of a chance in this game, but again, a 3-man push onto Heaven is not what you expect, especially when it's on the outside of the circle. And it heads back over towards Fireflux, who are currently in a fight with RCB, but look like they're winning this one pretty handedly.
Wild. Doing a lot of damage through the smoke, but not quite connecting, and that's the final point that they were looking for. 3 players alive for Fireflux. I mean, sweeping down, I didn't expect them to be able to take RCB out on that position on a dry push, but it seems like it's going to work for them this time. And they can start to extend a lot of control over the west side of this circle. I mean, has Scarface moved all the way back up to Heaven Compound? No, it's not that far. The circle's a little bit too far south for that. Vibes, trying to fend off their little slice of prison. As Zeus are trying to encroach, so are Na'Vi on the south still.
Vibes. Again, I think most of these teams here down towards the southeast are likely going to take each other out. It is a really horrid spot to rotate out from. They're at the top from Dokuma. Do much damage at all.
It's nasty. Vibes catch some on their approach, but there's plenty of flack going both ways. Football is chaos. I mean, they step up and immediately get taken down. They're like, we're busy, actually. Thank you very much. You're not allowed in this fight. Unfortunately, they may not have a choice. Doorway may be barred, but they are breaking it down. Battering rams, slamming against it. Na'Vi still going with 2 on the southwest side. Around prison, though, all of these teams are going to have to make such a fast rotation once this concludes, no matter who's able to win it out.
It's not easy at all, because you either have to swing down towards the southwest or back up towards the north side into the waiting jaws of IWDRX. Dokuma, I really do feel like he should have hit a couple more of those shots. Under pressure, though. Understandable. Maniac goes down, and it's just a case of holding these teams back. That's a dangerous vehicle to be getting back in, but needs the speed.
I mean, in stage 5, it's kind of doable. I mean, the smoke damage, obviously, you can see it billowing from under the... Well, they don't really have a bonnet, do they, on the buggies, but still. You'll be thankful for it if it gets you to safety. Fireflux taking nades over towards Na'Vi ends their run here, and 6 teams remain. On the north side, S2G still playing up as 4. IWNRX over on the northeast. They're playing as 4 as well. They moved up from prison a while ago. They've held this position for a while now, and they are just about coming to the edge of the circle, which means that they are going to have to start to move. But they have 4 players alive, and they are one of 3 teams to have that accolade. Footballers Chaos, they were a little bit more aggressive, but trying to hold out 2 teams fighting, only getting 2 limbs for it, not ideal. S2G trying to move power aside. Alhaji dodges the damage. The rear bumper there looking pretty good. Easy. Lobs the nade up and right down on top of himself. Roll up. Going well for S2G. And, well, hang on a minute. I take that back because 2 of them have gone down. There's oversight from Fireflux as well.
Power's out. Good roll down in the smoke, honestly, from Marso. Good assumption made. Smoke's going up. His fingers. Would it have been quicker?
He's got that backseat protection, right? Covering off the driver.
Oh, yeah. That's how it works.
They get the reses. I mean, they're kind of being allowed to do this as well. Frozen. He can't do that. Not now. Oh, dear. Slowly drifts into a tree and dies. Not good.
Yeah.
WNRX.
Bit of a mistake. A small one.
Yeah, a large one.
IWNRX, who had a great opportunity in this game. Maybe wanted to swing over towards that western side, but they stayed pretty still. I think they were hoping to catch a lot of teams coming in from the south. But that concluded fairly quickly on its own.
Yeah, they don't have any limbs right now. And they still do have a pretty decent chance. The fact that Frozen hasn't been flushed yet is kind of wild to me. I feel like he was shot down out in the open, and he's still alive. How's that happened? He's managed to crawl so far back, and I think he's going to get rezzed.
Yeah. Well, it's Chaos. Still going strong. Catch. Fairly out in the open. Vehicle explodes, and so you can finally lay down behind it. It's no longer a ticking time bomb. I think with both wheels gone on the side of the vehicle, it does provide some pretty consistent cover.
I'm looking at Fireflux's big split right now. They are 3 players, and all of them are playing about 150 meters apart from one another. They are just hoping that they can force these fights to happen in different places. Ketch is kind of the peak of this V formation for Fireflux, rather. And can he hold it off? I feel like this is a really big risk from Fireflux, but they've been taking risks a couple of times this match, and I think it's working out so far for them. No nades connecting.
Not just yet.
I mean, this is the danger, right? You just lose one of the sides and so severely diminished, there's no chance you get that res. And if Ketch goes down, I mean, that's it. Like, Scarface, there's no way he gets through. S2G, and a nade sent their way. A big nade from Swain finds 2 players, Kelsey and Hamzy. Another one over the top from Frozen. There's only 1 player to deal with now. Marso, though, puts up a fight. Stiff resistance here in the bunker for S2G. Holding around the side as well, but will not be able to survive as Swain rolls in with a DBS. Taking them all down. 4 players alive still for IWNRX. Zed Wolf going to hold the south flank, but Footballers Chaos are going to try and take it from them. IWNRX going to have to move back down south as well as the circle shifts away.
This is tough news. And IWNRX have got a long journey ahead of them. It's surprising there's still 4. They have taken quite a few knocks over this game, but no flushes have come through yet. Football is Chaos, the big issue in front of them here.
A roll back for IWNRX, but they come to find their old position. Not so strong for them right now. Center of the circle currently unoccupied. Fireflux, wait, they got the res on Fireflux?
Yeah, somehow.
Lux got back up? How on earth did they manage to make that one up? I mean, I guess that fight pops off, there's no cover, you take the opportunity, you go like, right, this is the only chance, let's get back up to 3. And, I mean, credit to them, but I thought Lux was a goner.
Yeah, it's all really slowed down. And I think that Football is Chaos could maybe expand slightly. Especially, like you say, with Lux going down there, there was definitely a big opportunity for them to send across.
Take space. Kine goes down as Scarface. Playing off his forward player. Two players down now for IWNRX, but Ketch does get spotted in response. It's up to Scarface to keep him safe as they rotate around. Lux and Scarface, now they have to condense. Okay, they see that knock, they think, we have to stay as 3. Nade in from Frozen, another shot to Scarface. It's just Lux remaining. Can he return the favor? A nade over towards the backlines takes a lot of damage off them. A nade goes up high again. It's a nice bounce there. Scarface is going to go down. Ketch as well. And Lux is under pressure. They stayed split for far too long for my liking. Lux is very, very low. Football is Chaos just over the hillside as well. And there is a real struggle bus pulling into the station right now for Lux.
I mean, it's mega passive from Football is Chaos. They could have ended the game right now. But instead, they're just still sitting on their side. And it's likely they'll still win this game. But they're opening up chances for it to go the other way.
Ooh, this could be nasty. Bouncer over towards Dokuma. IWNRX is scouting. Player on the back, Falconist. Needs to reposition now into the vehicle. Moves across the road. In and amongst the team. If Lux can stay alive, he could pull a few more points out of this. And I think IWNRX have, at this stage, an equal probability of winning this one against Football is Chaos. And I mean, given the performances so far this week, I'm tipping it over to IWNRX. Lux is known. They know exactly where he is. There's no chance you're getting away from that. Not going to happen. Football is Chaos. They think they know where he is too, but it's too late. Can't find it. Fireflux down and out. IWNRX able to rack up to 7 eliminations already.
Swain taking shots, and again, like, the fact that Football is Chaos, they've sort of allowed this to happen. There's so many opportunities to get over towards this hilltop, towards this plateau, and just harass versus IWNRX. This is a thrown away chicken dinner.
IWNRX looking to try and push themselves into the lead, into a relevant position. This is their last day of games, so getting a good chicken dinner here would be brilliant. They want 10 eliminations. Seems like they may just be able to find them. Their pockets are deep. Plenty of nades still to come. The sweep out wide, up onto the high ground. Dokuma somehow fading a lot of these nades. Zedwolf on the off angle. I mean, as soon as Dokuma steps up, you know he's getting peppered with mini 14 shots. Those rounds will start to crack out. Kine crawling forwards. Still humbling their player on the off angle. Yekta finds a Swain rolling up, and again crashing into a tree. Just a short fall here and gets the point away. That's not ideal. Frozen down in the grass. A 2v3 now. Molotov from Zedwolf goes long on the arm. They know he's behind that tree. Okay, Yekta spotted. Sanity restored somewhat. It's all up to Dokuma. I don't think he's got any meds. He would have used them by now. Steps out for the spray onto Kine. It's not going to work out. And IWNRX put 10 eliminations on the board. Find the chicken dinner. And control from the east side of prison. They shift north and sweep across from there. Nice performance.
Yeah, again, Football is Chaos should have had that in the bag. And I think IWNRX are just as confused as we are, and since they never made a more aggressive move. I remember it got to the point where it was 2 knocks over towards Football is Chaos, 2 knocks over to IWNRX. I think you just have to give it your all at that point and try and take what you can. Like, what the likelihood of you losing a 2v4 is obviously much less than you losing a 4v4.
Yeah. Well, you'd think, right? That would be logical and sensible as a thing to do. We saw Freezer there really putting up a fight in the Heaven compound scrap. Ended up being, I believe, a 4-way engagement over in that direction. Fireflux didn't want to push themselves in. I feel like it was two very passive teams playing into that final circle, right? I mean, Fireflux, they didn't really push too hard on that one, and it was only right at the end, and probably only because of Footballers Chaos passivity, that they were able to stay alive for as long as they did in that scenario, right? And then IWNRX were just like, okay, well, we'll actually take these fights, we'll actually do well off this match, and even though Footballers Chaos get some points there, they only get, I think it was 2 elims in those final moments.
Matches played. SUG not far behind, but they've only got 14 matches played, so they still have one more day of play coming in tomorrow. Team Spirit, this is their last day as well, similarly for Power and Guild.
Yeah, right now, I mean, you can see the overalls on the left-hand side of your screen. S2G definitely a front runner to try and jump up, and I mean, potentially, it's a team that could compete towards at least top 2 on this lobby, which is quite interesting, right? They seem to have sort of snuck up on the outside, given that first game today and the second game to follow it up as well. They have jumped quite high up on those leaderboards, so great stuff from S2G. Another opportunity now. Plane path from Severny down to west side, so Snodka military base. It's interesting to me that Brute Force have gone for Severny here. I mean, sure, maybe grabbing vehicles and getting to Novo is dangerous, but I guess no Falcons, no point not just going for Severny. It's right there.
Yeah, it's early on the plane path as well, so earlier loot, much better possibility for them. You'd be very late down towards Novo, and you'd have to contend with Na'Vi as well as Guild to grab vehicles. So yeah, this is just a smarter play overall.
Yusuf again, going for that vehicle on the military island, a potential weakness. I mean, Brute Force pretty happy that they dropped in Severny now. But if Trovo 2030 carry this on into tomorrow, I can kind of see that being a bit troublesome. I imagine that maybe a player from Na'Vi or 2 may flex out to it and watch for that drop. If they see that parachute, they divert and try and contest it with the advantage, because they know that backup is not coming if Yusuf goes down.
Yeah, it's one of those drops where it's a case of right now it's not a huge deal. I think tomorrow it might be a bit different. It might be dependent on the playing path as well for Trovo. They know that Brute Force is likely taking up Falcon's position in Severny, so they get a free vehicle back up towards their position. But for Trovo 2030, they don't really have a confirmed spot. What was a double knockdown?
With the knife? Ragnarok with the knife. He threw the knife at Mazzaro in the vehicle, and Vibes are getting torn apart by Salam as well. Oh, this is really nasty stuff. I thought this was done and dusted. I thought Trovo were going to lose 2 players, but no. Brute hopped out and took half his health bar as damage here with the UMP, with the micro Uzi as well. Footballers Chaos, they're coming in. They're getting a little bit more aggressive as well. They pick up the point onto Mazzaro, and they're stealing this one away. Vibes. Oh, they've had a nightmare here, Blank.
That looked clean. It looked like it should have been an easy amount of pickings. But no, not meant to be.
I've got to see that knife on the replay. I don't know if we caught that, but excellent stuff there. And Footballers Chaos, they get to their credit, they're getting a little bit more aggressive this game, right? They hear this, they know exactly what's going on, they're rolling this down. Ragnarok's the next to fall.
Footballers Chaos gone. Trovo 2030 underneath. Salam's sort of trapped up here, does jump out the building to hopefully get the spray down onto the final player from Vibes here on Brute. What a weird way to start your game, honestly.
Imagine landing a knife throw onto a moving buggy. That is impressive stuff.
Yeah, taking down each other at the same time is just... I couldn't quite believe what I saw.
It's kind of nuts. Brute trying to hold out. As you said, the last player alive for Vibes now in a stunning turn of events. elusive. Trying to pursue him up the stairs. Marcelo out in the open ground may be in danger here, but he has to worry about the staircase first. There's 2 players running up on him. He's not going to be able to stop them. Footballers Chaos, they left a while ago now, but Trovo 2030 survive what could have been disaster.
It really could have been very bad. Honestly, very, very bad. Luckily, get out fairly unscathed. The 3 players. There's Guild down towards the south side. They're on the east of Team Spirit. And we didn't really talk too much about the circle, but it did head far up towards that northern side of the map. So Brute Force really happy with the way that one has worked out for them.
Yeah, they've managed to get that early drop in, get looted fast. I'm imagining that, yeah, now they're starting to leave Severny now. That's now twice in the same sentence, but you know what? We're just going to keep going. Their leave from Severny is going to be an important rotation for them because a lot of teams are now going to start to move in. Okay, we managed to find it. I'll come back to that. Sees it, launches it, bang.
That is
Look at
wild.
that. That is so clean. I love that so much.
Yeah,
Salem
that-
also really clean with this fight, getting on 1v2. Really nice. Both players had weapons and CQB-oriented weapons as well. So credit to Salem for being able to pull that one out, but the knife kind of stole the show.
Yeah, it's got on a highlight reel, that's for sure.
Hell yeah.
Not only been able to do that, but to do it in a PMSL is really silly.
I mean, you just don't have a choice at that point. You've just got to go for that play. You know it's in your wheelhouse. You've hit them before. In your solo queue games. It's time to bring it to the big leagues. Why not? Getting fancy with it. I think that's now 2 knife throw eliminations we've seen. I think it was Virtus Pro with Icy in the Painan Hot Drop against RCB. And now another one. Joining the Hall of Fame.
A lot of teams now making their way up towards that northern edge. IWNRX looking to move through Rozhok. They know that RCB should have moved already. You are just rolling around. Monster Truck's actually kind of a useful vehicle in terms of scouting because it is much higher up than other vehicles are in the driver's seat, so your view range is extended. It's not so useful when it comes to cover. I mean, you can definitely hide behind the wheels, but it doesn't provide a position where you could easily just prone behind it. You can't pop the wheels out.
Yeah, I mean, even if you do get the explosion on the vehicle, it's still very, very minimal cover. And even hiding behind the wheels, even if you're able to use those, right, it's almost like playing behind a tree rather than playing behind a rock. You just can't move side to side because you have to be isolated, and if there's multiple angles looking at you, it's even harder to play around that monster truck tire. But still, has its value, has its use, plus looks super cool.
Yeah, it's finicky. Very finicky at times. Go towards IWNRX. Remember, they were rotating through. They find a position down towards the south side. It's not ideal, but it'll work for now. Navi and Trovo 2030 looking to move out. They're right down on that south side. And Team Spirit, one of the last teams to rotate in as well.
Yeah, coming up now behind this position we're on board with, actually. Footballers Chaos may have Team Spirit barking down at them in just a moment, but maybe they divert west and try and get across the bridge. I mean, north side of the river, definitely where these teams are looking, and I think it's almost certain that the circle will at least catch the north side of this river as it comes through in about 5 seconds. We're going to see it connect, and it goes right on top of all of our teams. So not too much changes here. Oh dear. This is nasty. Effect, though. Able to hold his own for the time being, at least, and there is backup from the rest of Team Spirit here. Fireflux cannot do too much about it, but both Matic and Kitsune going down is going to make this hard. Look at that regroup down towards the river as well, as Matic's getting rezzed. A rescue on board for Nomi over towards Kitsune as well, as they look to keep 4 players alive. But Footballers Chaos, they can move in this meantime. Get a little bit more aggressive with it. That's what we wanted to see.
Absolutely. They need to change things up a little bit. Team Spirit currently trapped on the roadside. Good shots from Storm start things off. As Matic roams around the side of the vehicle. Yeah, they are trapped on the bridge now.
Expecting them to vault off, and you can see that Team Spirit, they're moving into this position to play the riverside a little bit. Ooh, but he's hopped in the vehicle. They're getting out the back here. Nomi in one, Kitsune staying on the bridge. Nomi potentially drawing fire with that move. Kitsune able to heal and hop over the side of the bridge down to terrain cover, gets that healing done. Footballers Chaos not able to find that opening.
No, surprising. Team Spirit's able to get all 4 players back up again. They're in a horrible spot. And still have to move further forward.
The asset that they do have, though, is a little bit of time. They're in this next circle, even Nomi on that south side of the river. So they can work this for just a little bit longer. Sure, they're not going to have the pace, but in the position that they were, they kind of never were going to have the pace, right? They're playing in from the southeast side. There's always going to be teams ahead of you at this stage in the game, at this time in the game. And if Footballers Chaos want to commit to holding you out, they're kind of scuppering their own chances. So maybe just allow Footballers Chaos to get away from you, then try and regroup and force your way in later on.
Yeah, exactly, John. That is the best way to do it. Na'Vi, Flip finding a knock on the backside of Power as they're rotating. If they can clear Power here, they have a really strong control over towards the western side of this circle. Heads further towards that north side. Footballers Chaos getting an unfortunate run-in with Enigma Galaxy.
I don't think you get Storm back up here for Footballers Chaos. He's on an open hillside. Na'Vi, they're spotting Power out on this western edge. But at the moment, Power not looking in super strong form as they do go out fully. Na'Vi get a clean wipe as they don't take any knocks out their way, but do have to move now as the blue zone puts pressure on them on the west edge. Up into the shooting range hills they'll have to go. As the circle pops hard southwest shift blanket, keeps that south shoreline in, and Team Spirit, they may have a chance to get something done here, whether maybe they weren't super hopeful before. In they go.
I'm actually surprised. This has all gone very well for weird teams around the place. I don't quite believe that it's all worked out so far.
Team Spirit mounting up against the backlines of Enigma Galaxy, but there's shots coming on through that land onto effect. Matic up to the ridgeline. He wants to put more control in to hold this angle. A little bit more strength bolstering their position, but the high ground for SnowX is just so demanding of Team Spirit's attention. Nice nade. Is it going to connect? Does find a little bit there, but not too much more. I think that might have just been the re-knock, potentially. Kitsune, very, very low on health. Enigma Galaxy really don't want to let this one go away. Spray down from Matic going to be necessary here to keep them alive.
Comes Enigma Galaxy. Not many players from them. Too close together on Team Spirit, as they do lose player behind. We'll have to regroup again. But the vehicles are massively ruined. There's been some awkward rotates to get into this spot, actually.
Team Spirit really been through the wars, but it seems like teams are allowing them so many opportunities. Trovo 2030 spotted on their crossing. They came in just a little bit too late, which is unfortunate. There's no real way that they have in at this stage. This eastern side jam-packed. No opportunity to find a way through, but Maniac and Dokuma taking shots across the way may allow them to sneak their way through under cover of gunfire.
Yeah, Footballers Chaos losing Storm, but it didn't go too badly. That is up until this moment in time where Darkin's able to immediately find Falconist and flush him. So now down to 2 players from Footballers Chaos, so awkward game for them. IWRX, they understand they need to hit some higher highs during these games. They only have 4 more matches left to play, including this one.
Yusuf hopping in for the fight. That's a good clear on the building. The nade doesn't connect. And Trovo 2030 will fight on. We know they're scrappy. We saw it on the hot drop there. And 3 eliminations for Salem. Really the main player that kept them in this one. They're going to have to make another move, though. Circle. Going to come through. Maniac stepping past the nade into it again, though, as it bounces before the door. Fortunately, there is a trade-off, and Rita can get this res. They aren't in this next circle as it shifts off to the northwest.
Kind of a horrible spot, but I mean, for RCB, this is a good game where they have some of the high ground. They can pair off from the top of. They have some natural cover towards that area of the map. Black Esports starts to swing from that south side.
Zeus trying to clear their path, trying to take shots up towards Ralph, but don't really have the angle. Ralph not going for these peaks, not going for that spray down. I mean, he's backed off a little bit, so in fact that spray does give them space, even if they don't find the knock, but they're trying to sweep up to the north edge, try to clear out the remnants of Trovo 2030, and then into Brute Force and S2G. I think this may be a very difficult rotate for Zeus to work with, but maybe they'll be able to find something. They're hopping out, and Trovo 2030 do not have the cover. The nades are going to come on through. Prepod trying to keep those nades and the eliminations over towards themselves, but the nade from Darkin, that's just going to blast them to smithereens. Put 2 points in the pockets of Zeus.
Zeus in an awkward spot. The shots will ring out towards. I think they're a little bit locked in. Guild over towards this western side. RCB continues to hold that strong central position. Nice shot from Zero. Will take down Kakali as he attempts to enter the building. Denied at the door.
Na'Vi surround the fight, but Guild are going to hold off one angle. Default down first. Lewis on the outside trying to trade it off. Does get the spray down onto Default. Does get that flush and steals the point away. But there's an immediate answer from AXA. They still have the outside track, but in comes Heroic as well from the north side. RCB are trying to take shots out this way as well. This is 5 teams all looking out here. Black Esports, I think that is going to take them down to very close to going out, but Guild also on their last legs here. Flip spotted from Heroic, who have chimed in. It's all guns blazing on the western front.
Poser dropping the smoke sim. Try and keep himself up for a little bit longer here.
Holding behind the windows, Exo. Getting that first aid on. Thinks better. Keeps that one for later. Pops the bandage instead. Poser. First aid for him, though. May have the health advantage. Steps in. Exo. Can't quite find the challenge. Neither of them can. Not connecting with the sprays. Finds the player on the staircase and pushes him straight on down. Team Spirit have moved up. Look at that on the south edge. Everybody is moving in here.
Yeah, again, for Team Spirit, there's just open opportunities for them to send around the map. They left Matic behind, down towards a compound on the south, just waiting for that shift on the next circle, just in case. So they're playing it pretty safe right now, but they've wounded and injured teams over towards this western edge, which is going to be really useful for them in the long run. They know this is a portion of the map which has weakened teams. Going forward,
keep these players out on the west side. They know that RCB is their main dangerous team to play up against. They know that position should be occupied. They know that that threat from the north will be there. The teams on the east potentially could take care of each other. Team on the north, RCB are going to have to fight them off. So it's the western teams that would be the major threat for Team Spirit in the position that Matic holds. Dealing with this is smart for them. They are trying to preempt danger into these next circles.
yeah, I mean, RCB, they know that they've got a winning position. That is just a case of scouting, making sure that they understand exactly where teams are playing. Matic getting a little bit worried down towards the south side now because there potentially is teams that would like to swing round, so Kitsune sends back. That makes sense to me.
Two of their players now left on this hilltop, overseeing What is left of Na'Vi? What is left of Guild? 3 eliminations for Guild. 5 for Na'Vi. Yeah, little replay on how this fight all started to kick off. Guild just chasing them down. Black Esports versus Guild turned into Black Esports versus Guild versus Na'Vi versus Team Spirit versus Heroic versus RCB. And it's not gone well for a lot of those teams.
Yeah, it's an incredible amount of squads all fighting over one compound on the western side. And Power wanted to get there, but was completely shut down by Na'Vi. On a very clean wipe, by the way, on the western edge. It's a shame Na'Vi couldn't get too much further. Zeus, understand that now is the time to start moving out. Redox, a threat down towards their south edge.
IWNRX taking the last player of Fireflux out on the southeast side. Now IWNRX could potentially try and crash towards Team Spirit. Shots from Maniac over towards Brute Force as Zeus do have the outside on the circle, which means they're going to have to move first. That's that Redox backstab you're talking about. Potential to slow Zeus down, if not take them down, as Freezer immediately catapults forwards. He slingshots into the middle of Zeus. And they're looking for Nox. It's Furia to find Darkin. If they peek up, if they step up to try and go for him, the rest of his team's there. Redox dashing, darting for the circle, and Maniac finds the wrong end of that scope, pointed his direction. Will fall down outside in the blue zone. A nade up from Furia. Eren may just fall next. The heal comes through from Redox, and he does have another chance as Zeus dismantled here. IWNRX establish a front line and get in the way of Brute Force now.
Yeah, it's a smart move from IWNRX. They know they need to start moving up to deny this. They hear a lot of the fighting. It's a perfect opportunity for them. And they do get it solidly done. Next circle, incoming now. RCB finding Furia on the side. Good shots, actually. Using that high ground to their advantage. Yeah, okay. Cool.
So, RCB win. Who comes second? I feel like IWNRX, given that they have that 2-player forward position, can regroup there, can play there, and Team Spirit may be able to do something, but Guild are high and dry. Nomi has been holding them out for such a long time. However, there's a lot of utility in this compound, given that I think about 100,000 teams decided to crash onto it, so a lot of boxes potentially to pilfer through for Guild on their duo remaining, Exo and Zero.
Yeah, there's plenty of opportunity. It really depends how clean Nomi can be with his initial spray. Even if he knocks one of them, that's enough. 2-player squad is way more dangerous. I think he's decided, you know, get back to the team, play out that way. Realistically, for Team Spirit, there's only a couple points of action here, which is either to swing all the way up towards the north, which would be very dangerous and is not really possible with Guild being there, or to try and clear IWNRX, which equally is just as tough. I think Nomi's trying to bait out the move from Guild with the vehicle sounds at the moment.
Potentially risky position found by 2 of RCB's players, Ezel and Silas, trying to flank out, trying to sweep through on Brute Force's position before they regroup in. But as soon as that position is known entirely, they know that they're going to drop the ball if they have to go for it. And Guild is trying to encroach on their western side. They can't take the fight on 2 fronts. They can't withstand that. Even in the strength of the position that they have, it's going to be nasty for them. So Guild, now their primary focus. What can IWNRX do? What can Brute Force do? Team Spirit on this far side whilst RCB is preoccupied.
It's a funny one because I think that, you know, if teams could see where the map is at right now, they might potentially even go for a hard crash over towards Wild's position on the map, which is fairly central. But because they assume that there's a fair few more players holding that position, they're all willing to stay on the outer edge. Matic just checking it.
I think Team Spirit want to go straight in for this fight with IWNRX, and you can see that smoke line that's blocking off the compound that RCB have. It's going to give them that opportunity to gain speed, to gain momentum towards IWNRX. Expect a rollout soon. As in goes Kitsune, he's leading the charge. Effect, not going to hop into the vehicle. Moves forwards, gets their forward position established, but the nade is going to answer it and going to push him way back and get the knock. Beautiful from Frozen. Knows exactly what to do, how to handle this. Team Spirit not ready for this roll-up, it seems. The sprays towards the backline, not connecting. The nades over to the tree. Looks good for Nomi. He has to back off. But he jumps back into the nade. Oh, that is unfortunate. The roll-in from Frozen will catapult himself into the backlines of Team Spirit. It's Effect and Matic to try and hold it down now. IWNRX wanting to sweep through. Matic is down. It is just Effect now behind the tree. Another nade from Swain. I think they know where he is. It's going to step out. That looks good. It's right around the trunk. And Effect maybe getting blasted away. Not going to find it just yet. Team Spirit, 2 of their players to res, but they're not going to find any sort of opening against IWNRX. They are just pushed aside. A knock over to Frozen in the meantime as the circle goes straight over to RCB yet again.
That fight would have been very different if it wasn't for the fact that Effect naded Kitsune. The amount of damage that Effect was able to do towards Kitsune made the second nade that came in on from IWNRX. It wasn't a perfect nade, but it was enough damage to take down the already injured Kitsune in that fight. And I think that once your front line's kind of dismembered, you're struggling.
Guild are finally out with their duo remaining, but they do get up to 4th place. Did have 4 limbs as well, so again, not terrible for Guild, and I feel like they did get stuck in a lot more during that match. Not that they really had too much of a choice. IWNRX trying to find the tail end of brute force, move across these open hillsides though. That is dangerous. Zepwolf out the window, finds Freezer. Out in the open, we'll find it again. As they hop out, they're closer now. And RCB may have a contender. Furia, ooh, he's behind them. They didn't catch this. He's got the nade. He's going to be able to cook one up and potentially get an immediate double. Kine steps wide. He's got 1 nade, so needs to make it count. Will still stay secret if he connects with this nade and gets a knock. Goes up high, wants to drop it from the sky, just a little bit too long on the cook, steps out, and the shots are there immediately. Swivel, 180s from everybody on IWNRX. There's a snake down the hill. Take care of him, but Frozen does go down to it, and now RCB can try and move forward. Swain is low, has to heal, and they can move in. Still Neos out on that off angle. Very, very low, but still in the game.
Yeah, I mean, for RCB, it's likely going to be a quick game purely because everyone's on the edge, and they're all coming uphill as well. And they have so much control of the circle. I mean, they have had the circle for a long, long time now. Neon spotted. IWNRX, though, great couple of games from them either way. That is the big takeaway from this match.
Res onto Frozen, wild on the off angle for RCB. There's the step up. Kine going to be flushed away very, very quickly. It's a 3v3 now. Healing coming through for both teams. Zedwolf behind his bush. I mean, most teams will check this. Well, at least tag a couple of shots on the spray once they peek towards it. But can he catch them before they do? That's the question. Wild, straight in the middle. He's got the buildings, he's still got that compound, the center of the circle is theirs, and IWNRX forced to make the move.
Again, like I said, it's all uphill. It's such a tough push out from IWNRX. It might have been possible if it was a 4v3, but it was a very important elim gathered by Wild to even things out.
The step up very timely. Silas crunching in. They know that IWNRX can't really push in on this angle, so they force them up to this north side. They're hearing the vehicles. Swain getting up to this ridge. I mean, maybe this is a bit more ground than RCB really want to be giving them here, but Loxy on the high ground thinks he's got it covered. Taking a couple of shots. A wide sweep with the UAS, going to find one, rolling straight up to him, but the DBS takes a chunk out of Loxy on the sidelines, but Silas is there for the backup, going for that 2 spray. Will not find the answer, and Loxy goes down all the way. Swain has 4 first aids, he's on a sliver of HP, but he dashes back, stays alive, and RCB have pushed themselves up. IWNRX could get ahead now.
That is insane.
Big nade.
Swain survives that. Literally at 1 HP, very unfortunate, and now there's some serious recuperation of ground needed from RCB. They backed off, and I really feel like they should have just held the front angle.
Swain trying to follow up the nade, pushing Silas back. Wild still downhill. And a worry for them. Silas waiting for them to step too close for their comfort. Super low again, but doesn't go down. Swain, he's a survivor. You can't get rid of this guy, and now it's just Wild in a 1v3. RCB do not find the shots they're looking for, and IWNRX looking to find a second chicken dinner today. They have 11 eliminations so far on the match. A nade over towards Wild, behind the ridgeline. He does have a little bit of leg room here on his left, but he's not really going to need it here, as the center of the circle sits above the lip of this one.
It's another game where a team gives IWNRX a ton of space. And I'm so confused as to why, but looks like another back-to-back here for IWNRX.
Ooh, cheeky. Doesn't take any damage either. 3 nades in hand. Going to send one of them over to the tree. Cooking up the second. Look at a focus on the rock now. They can't really go up for this res on the back lines. Catches Swain. And finally he does the damage. The nade over the top. And it's the alley-oop for himself. Wild now in a 1v1. A chance to 1 versus 3. IWNRX. And there's the nade. It goes longer to Frozen, but he has to step out wide into the open. Wild winning this trade. With the shotgun, he steps out. And 1 versus 3.
Days.
Wild sends them back to the lobby. IWNRX. They're blasted away.
I mean, for Wild, he's done it before in the past. 1v4 versus Virtus Pro back in the day, PMSL Spring, and again, another 1v3 versus IWNRX in a really tough spot. And IWNRX sort of give them the angles. I really think that maybe they could have played that a little bit slower, traded off one another. It was an incredible start of the game there with that knife healing, but yeah. Okay.
I mean, yeah, it's real fancy in the end. And I think we had, again, one of those solo pop-off performances that we've been seeing a couple of times over the last few days. We've seen it from Furia, I think is... oh, wait, I think it was actually from Freezer, right? With the pump action shotgun in the garage just now. He's had another one of those in a different garage as well. So the guy is kind of nuts with it. And it's a couple of really strong individual performances that are starting to shine through. The question mark that I would put on that, right, is that enough? At a global level, is that enough to be able to find the shots? This was brilliant. This was absolutely beautiful. Catching the spray in the open. Frozen not being there, also really, really important. If he was there on that crossfire, he had that peak angle, and Wild wouldn't have been able to do what he did. But 12 eliminations for RCB, 2,500 damage, and they find the chicken dinner when all seemed lost.
Yeah, it's a really good switch out to the shotgun actually on the DBS, because I think that's good though to potentially see if Virtus Pro gets swept by Footballers Chaos. We'll see. We'll see. But I do think with how Virtus Pro has been currently playing, it's somewhat doubtful.
And also given how Footballers Chaos is currently playing. I mean, we saw their timidity today in action so far against IWNRX. They really just weren't super willing to go for an advantageous seemingly fight in that scenario. Didn't work out for them, as we hear the warming up going on through. In the shadow of the PMSL trophy, 2 teams will take on one another once again in the warehouse. Virtus Pro blue, Footballers Chaos in the red.
That's right. Bishgate on our screens. Nade over towards Yetka. Around the side. Nice shot from Bishgate to start things off. Already 3-1. Damn, that went quick.
Looking slick with it. Catching another one for 4-1. Putting a 5th on. IC getting that healing started as well. Those nades are going to start to find their way over. Footballers Chaos, I mean, they've already been pushed back to spawn. This is pretty brutal from Virtus Pro. Storm could have been caught there, but actually a very nice volley answer from Footballers Chaos. Virtus Pro now, resupplied on the nades, however. Yekta moving up and into position. Bishke there to try and cut across. Goes 1, goes 2. Already a profit on this engagement. Bishke nearly finding a 3rd as well. Trying to lean back into the rest of his team as they find that crossfire. Malloy's there. That's how you want to play it. 5 eliminations in the lead already. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Very, very good stuff. Malloy up front and personal. Koa and the other, and Footballers Chaos is just locked in the spawn.
This is pretty nasty stuff. That's Pro. Definitely happy that they call that Footballers Chaos right about now. Footballers Chaos though, they get a jump shot, get a jump spray. Dokuma managed to land one, but they're still 8 points behind now with that extra onto Yekta. 9 on the tables. Bishke having to pull out the sword off, but they're 10 points in the lead blank. This is a very, very early lead to be found to put back in the pocket of Footballers Chaos, but Koa on the inside nearly finds that. A little bit of a resurgence here. Storm trying to charge forwards, but now Virtus Pro are just going to be standing on back. Bishke trying to dodge his teammate's nade, but the second one to deal the damage. 20-12 is the scoreline.
They'll come up. Sends a nade out towards the back. And was shot over towards him though. 22-14, slight resurgence. But not a huge amount so far.
I know they've put 10
Nades
points
will
on the
push
difference
Icy
now.
back.
That is true. So they're only 9 points behind now. Remember, it's first to 40. Almost when the timer runs out, but I don't think we're going to see the timer. A little bit of a light up over on this left side for Footballers Chaos, and they are now only 5 points behind, so they've cut their disadvantage in half. However, the nades do respawn with Virtus Pro. That can potentially give them a little bit of an advantage. You can see Malloy already racking a point up with them. On the door frame though, Yekta trying to hold, traded off. 7 eliminations now in the lead. For Virtus Pro, putting up that 8. Dokuma steps out, 2 players behind the crate, trying to challenge it off, but it's not going to work out. 9 there. Bishke up to the wall. The concrete through. Stepping out, and don't know what you expected. 10 points in the lead, 30-20.
Bishke round the side as per usual, always playing a sneaky angle. Very low though. And Falcazis knows he's there. This is a very quick game though, and both teams just going hell for leather. We'll certainly slow down once we get further into the 30s for Virtus Pro.
Spray over to Bishke. 8 eliminations needed to be able to win for Virtus Pro. Dokuma still on the inside of this warehouse. Can't quite connect off to Malloy, who's taking on the back lines as well. Going a little bit even on these trades. Another Footballers player and another as well falls down. 6 eliminations needed. 6 points ahead for Virtus Pro. Bishke popping that reload, steps out for Storm, looks for another over to Falconis. And he's got his back turned. Not where you want to be looking. The nades on the respawn are good, but 3 eliminations now needed. 2 as they're racking them up fast over towards Footballers Chaos. Icy can't quite find one of those 2, but it's only a matter of time, in my estimation. Malloy backed off by a nade, but they are going to start to run dry. Yekta spotted out the way, because we are going in for at least the start of this plane path. We'll see if we get to the end of it. The plane path this time is from the northeast side down to the southwest. So again, expect brute force in Severny. Expect this southeast side to be basically devoid of early drop players, but it's kind of, in a way, almost nastier than that last time around as well, because the plane path sits a lot on the north side of that central river.
Yeah, this is an awkward plane path, to say the least. There's a lot of space down towards that southeast side, which is somewhat inaccessible for a few of our squads here. They do all barrel out the plane.
Okay, Heroic going to grab some vehicles. Well, I hope they will, and head on to wherever they decide to go. Circle yet to pop. But Heroic potentially in danger, or maybe it's Brute Force who are in danger. I think that's Neos who's going out that far towards them, but no, they divert. Not going to be dropping on the same vehicles. Hot drops, maybe. Oh, Guild and Zeus. Okay, up on the observatory. Top of Stalber. Zeus taking a lot of damage early. Guild winning this trade out. This is their last Erangel. Their last chance to do so. Rita trying to cross that door frame, and Guild getting clean wipe. 4 points immediately.
Yeah, we've seen this fight before, and actually it was, I think, Guild who lost it last time. But they managed to hold out on observatory and can look for the big old telescope to a brighter future. in this game. Circle out towards that western edge. Not a horrible circle at all. Pretty accessible for a lot of our teams.
Yeah, it's definitely not as dramatic as our first circle that we had on the rehost, so a few teams will be breathing a bit of a sigh of relief. Brute not able to connect with the spray from Hospital to South George over towards Trovo 2030, although there is already a knock sent their way. Black Esports could potentially have their outpost. They keep going for this this wide split on the drop for Black Esports, 2 in Sunken and then 2, roll a dice and pick a spot sort of vaguely near within 2 kilometers, and you might find a Black Esports player. They are committed to the bit.
Sitting down, sitting back up. Playing a dangerous game with some of these teams. Digby Galaxy get it over towards Pachinki. And here they shall stay for the time being. Now Valo getting some schloot on board.
Weiss on the coastline. Victor razzing out to try and pick him back up. It looks like they'll be allowed to do it. I believe he is already tagged on for the res. The timer just not showing there. Salem knows there's a player on the outside, and Ragnarok is caught in a much worse position for them. Victor. Short under pressure, but they've got the cover. They've got the time to play with it as well. The circle is on top of them. There's no huge amount of pressure to move in. The difficulty is, of course, you do want to take a priority position. I'm looking at those compounds around Everest, the areas around Gatka, and up towards Ruins. Those are going to be some very, very important positions in this next set of circles. The hills to the southwest of Pachinki as well could be pretty important for the teams on the south.
Yeah, again, for Vives, the issue is, that's a nice nade actually, getting it through. The issue for Vives is that they can't leave, and they'd really like to get away from this position. Good jump out from Yusuf and Marcelo though. And with just one player inside the smoke, it's starting to get a little bit more tricky, but a double!
Mozero on the back line as well with the third angle. Taking the shots up to the rock side. That was messy coming through from Trovo, and now they may be paying the price for it. They've already lost one out in the open. The res comes through again onto Weiss. He steps up. A little bit of vengeance in his heart there. You can see it. Now only one player remains for Trovo 2030. Vibes. Is this the second time that they've sort of turned a pretty sticky situation around? I think it might be. Against Trovo 2030.
Yeah, they've done unreal so far. Very well done to them. And Trovo will lose Marcelo, and that will be the end of it. Trovo going down to 15th place. What a shot. Here's the initial engagement between Zeus and Guild once again.
Ooh. Big pickup. The DBS, the DP as well. Okay, yeah, that's kind of understandable as to how that happened. On a hot drop like this, it is just who gets onto the weapons first.
And honestly, it really was just a big struggle there for Zeus to find anything of note in that game. Yeah, Vibes. Very, very nice play. It looked like a really sticky situation, but they managed to pull themselves out of it 1 foot at a time. Yeah. Stage 1 starting to close in for our second circle.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a way off for now, but definitely be on the minds. Nobody except for Power is currently taking positions around the foothills of Everest. Ruins, the only teams near there are RCB and Black Esports, but Black Esports still very, very split. Fireflux are now moving over to the compounds just to the north of Pachinki, taking up residence there. I think that's a very powerful position for them. I don't expect them to be leaving anytime soon. S2G. Now they're pushing in from the east side. They're currently around those bunker, the dip positions that sit just to the northwest of Shelter. And they're going to have to push in a little bit further. But Footballers Chaos, they're going to try and change that track, because S2G are right in front of them. They're going to want to slow them down at least, or figure out where they're going and move around them fast.
Well, this guy's had to stop off as S2G gets ahead of them. Go towards dip, so they at least have a pretty defensible location for when Football is Chaos or Guild tries to move on through. Brute Force is edging their way around Yaz Lake on that north side. An interesting route, actually. I'm curious why they're not going for box and then heading down towards Ruins. I feel like that would have been a smarter choice.
Navigation. Routes being plotted on maps. Every single team making their course, getting the charts up on the corkboard and seeing what they can find here. IWNRX, they think about holding up in the compound, but they want to breach back towards the top of this hill. Get a little bit more presence over the lobby rather than sitting down in the fields on that compound. And you can see the oversight now that Frozen has, which is really nice over the northeast side. Guild, they are all the way out to the east side, just on the south edge of Lipovka. All four of their players alive, and they've moved down from that Stalborough Observatory, figuring out where they want to go next. Exo grabbing some more loot on board. Themselves nice and healthy. Team Spirit go up to the top of some hills, south side of Pachinki, trying to squidge their way in on the southeast side.
Zone 2.
Circle time.
Very soon.
Whoa.
Towards the northwest. Damn, very hard shift over towards Everest. So, yeah, those compounds underneath Everest, high priority. Here's IWNRX versus Team Spirit. No me. Finding one, but quickly shut down afterwards by the Honey Badger.
Gonna come on through. Kitsune now pushing him out the side of the tree trunk. But no one ready and waiting to catch that peak. Effect instead has the nade, so does Kitsune. Puts it over the top. Zedwolf, this could be big from Zedwolf. Does a lot of damage, but Kitsune catches him on the flight. Kind now, not really in a great position to go for this res, but will try his best nonetheless. Getting up into a high ground, no, he diverts. I think they may just be giving up the second player here, Zedwolf. Very difficult to find, yeah, Effect gets that flush. Kine, at this point, you do just disengage. Very unfortunate to lose Nomi, though. It's, again, not the greatest of weeks for him. Especially in his bid for 100 eliminations. I don't think he's even crossed that metric yet.
No, not yet. I think he's still got a couple more eliminations to go. I don't exactly know how many, but...
Oh, I think that might have been his 100th elimination, actually. He was on 99, I think, before this match.
Oh, okay, well done.
There we go.
Hats off.
And then immediately he's like, right, well, I'm done. See you guys.
Yeah, he's finished. Completed it.
100? Yeah, completed it, mate.
It's done.
Oh, yeah.
Na'Vi down towards that southwest side. Again, like we talked about this earlier, them heading down towards Primorsk. And this actually does give them more opportunity to heading towards the circle. Especially over towards that southwest side. There is compounds to play around here. They're not ideal in terms of hoping for a shift. But again, we are assuming the circle goes central. That's not always the case. As long as you're inside it and not tucked in over the edge, you have a good potential at getting one of these circles. Just finding a location. You can see Na'Vi right now. You can't see him on the screen, but they are going for a wide split, trying to take up as many good positions as possible, just in case the circle goes their way.
IWNRX with 2 after being cut down to size by Team Spirit. Southwest side, but Team Spirit trying to go for a little bit of a longer lap around and may fall at the feet of Na'Vi here, but they're holding back for the time being. Everest definitely the focal point of this circle. Heroic have the top of it, RCB have the east side of it, Power in the compound down to the southwest, and Na'Vi with a long line split out on that west side. You know, 1-2-1, you can see they have a lot of sight lines to control. Those open field rotates. Moving over to Axe's position, probably Going to be fine. We had a hard northwest shift, Black. Why not have a hard southeast shift? This is great news for IWNRX, actually. With 2 players, they can actually get something done here. But it's going to be difficult to select their position that they want to try and take. Guild can push in from the south, and that is also very good news for them.
Yeah, proper ping pong of a circle on this one. Team Spirit, slightly slow on this. As soon as they see the circle shift, and they're coming from that side of the map as well. There's a bit of a frustrating one. They do need to quickly get into position. They have to come off the high ground, which makes the rotate a little bit more tricky. And they're flying through open ground. There is a couple of compounds they could absolutely take, but it really does require a bit of speed from them now.
Bit of momentum. Let's have it. Brute force over on that north shore still. S2G were close by, but they disengage. They go over the central island. In stage 3, the zone is survivable, and that's what S2G are banking on. Interesting decision for Kelsey there, and for Hamzy. They spotted a different vehicle. Maybe not. Not too sure what Hamzy's going for there.
Having a peek at what's going on. Yeah, RCB very fast, honestly. Very impressive rotate from RCB. Get down towards from that north side to this position. They were very much on the money. Fireflux over towards the eastern edge, alongside with Pmgc, who did not have that tough of a rotation coming through from Pmgc.
No. I mean, now we're into the GAC compound standoff, right? Teams have managed to get in. Actually, not too many teams are fighting over compounds. Everyone seems to have just selected a different one and is content to just stay there. And in general, what you'll see is maybe a knock, maybe sent to various different teams, but very rare that you see actually a full crash. So even though Team Spirit have taken a knock, if Power roll out and go up for it, everybody else in the other compounds around them immediately takes shots out towards Power. So there's nothing really to be gained other than damaging health bars, damaging players on the outside as well, eating into medical supplies for taking these knocks.
Yeah, cutting out helmets and stuff like that is pretty important, but not until very much late in the game. There's something that from your spot you at least know. The team around you, you've been able to take a couple of pot shots towards them, get a few knocks, then you can start to assume that they might be weak, and it'll all come back into play. Stage 6, stage 7, and some of those crashes might start to happen. Well, everyone's pretty comfortable with their spots. Heroic kind of get dealt the worst hand after playing up towards the top of Everest. They had such a convenient spot, which has suddenly become quite uncomfortable now.
Power in. Gatka main. 4 players slap bang in the center of the circle. Navi have to fend off with Kine, but here's the last player to stand for IWNRX and will go down. Default gets the spray. Navi stay alive on all 4, and they're on the west side. Again, very solid position here. I'm looking at Guild, I'm looking at Footballers Chaos on the southeast side. Team Spirit will have to hold them out. RCB gonna have to face it off against this approach from Fireflux and from Pmgc, but the crossfire, this is what I was talking about. You try and make a move like that. Fireflux just taking so much damage and have to fall off into one of the chopsticks, the westernmost one. And RCB, they're already in here, and they don't want neighbors. They're taking shots down the drain. They're trying to keep it under control. Pmgc could potentially move into the north side of that bunker and try and third party this, but then they're in danger from teams up on the north, like Heroic, like Black Esports as well.
Fireflux going to struggle to get out from here, honestly. And with it being directly on the southeast, it's more of an awkward circle than they might like to admit. Footballers Chaos going to move through the field. That is a dangerous rotate for them. And we'll see how well it pans out for them.
Brute force. Using their player out on the left side. Mazzara trying to track it, but he stops at the hay bale. Furia keeping the nades pouring in to suppress the angle for Vibes. Unlikely that they break out this way. It's a little bit too bold, but the res onto Niels does manage to, well, certainly start, and I think it's going to complete as well. Don't quite have the angles for Vibes to take this one down. They've left Prepod all the way up towards Heroic, and again, that's pretty dangerous stuff. You're messing with fire there, because Walsh is still alive.
Yeah, and he is a dangerous fellow. The John Wick of the lobby, honestly.
Oh yeah.
8 nades here for Fury. I can send some of them over towards Vibes. I think that for Brute Force, they'd love this compound to take for their own. Very defensive position.
A lot of damage over towards S2G. They just get pulled apart. Okay, RCB managed to land a nade. I think they tried to rock up onto the position north of RCB's bunker, that ridge line that oversees it. And they just took shots and nades from RCB and from Enigma Galaxy on the compound to the east side. So S2G couldn't find their way in. Difficult to navigate.
Yeah, really, you can hide behind the tractor or the hay bale. Those are your 2 options. So it's fairly easy to line up the nades there. And if you're getting naded out by RCB and Enigma Galaxy at the same time, it's not many 2 places that you can stand. That's 8 arms. Lots of nades at you.
Ooh. Na'Vi, Footballers Chaos on the roll up here. Flip still in action. Lemon with a little bit more to say. Falcon is trying to connect, but it's just not going to work out. And that is brilliant for Na'Vi to stay up on 3 players. They need to get Axa back up, and they're on a fairly central and important compound here, given that Power has almost all of the strength in this one. You can see Al-Haji, I mean, you drop those smokes. That's really important for keeping this rooftop because you know you're going to be under threat from so many angles. And Brute Force counting their lucky stars right now about their compound getting sent into this circle.
Honestly, I feel really bad for Footballers Chaos because they made a hell of a rotate, which felt is so dangerous, and yet they find it themselves in a compound. And then suddenly Na'Vi's there, completely wiping out your whole team. Not the situation you'd like to be in. Team Spirit, Guild, RCB, Enigma Galaxy, Black Esports, and Heroic all need to shift inwards. Right now, Team Spirit is the closest on that southeast side, with Heroic a little bit further in than Black Esports, but very visible to a lot of squads as they come off this hillside.
I think for Team Spirit right now, the name of the game is try and take as much out of the teams trying to move ahead of you as possible, and that's exactly what Effect's going to do. Guild trying to move around on a flank. They're going to deny that. You deny entry to all of these teams on the south, on the east of you, because you know that your next move is almost certainly a death sentence if you try and make it early. You have the closest position to the blue on this angle. You have the time to play with. Force the other teams to make that fight go for them. And then you take off what you can. You try and peel off those eliminations from the top. Black Esports make the mad crash on towards Gatka. And it seems, I mean, they've been more successful than you'd expect. They've lost Lewis to a knock already, sure, but they are in the corner. Power need to respond now.
Yeah, they absolutely take shots out towards them and nades. I think the fact of the matter is that Black Esports up to 3 players is a dangerous thing to have going on in your location. 5 looks all molly themselves.
Yeah, they were out in the blue. I think they knew they were kind of done for, so maybe they just decided to get rid of the points. Though you think, just heal out the blue. Maybe try and find that. Team Spirit going for a wide swing on the south side. They're trying to flow in behind Guild and maybe towards Na'Vi. RCB won the fight with Enigma Galaxy trying to crash into the top of the chopstick, but now RCB are going to have to find their heads up and over. Power sending shots out their way, but is that too much attention taken away from Black Esports? Brute Force, meanwhile, over on the northwestern side with Vibes beneath them, going to be trying to push all the way down. You can see the buildings currently held by Vibes, and they do not want to let Brute Force anywhere near them.
RCB now make their run in over towards Black Esports, banning Kakali on the outside, and similarly Team Spirit making their run over towards Na'Vi's compound. It's all popping off here, John.
Oh, more damage to pour on through. RCB on 3 players alive.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room.